In my top 5 games of all time, I put the GameCube remake of Resident Evil 1, for how masterfully done it is, for how much I loved it at the time and still love it, and for how boldly it sits atop the mountain of survival horror games all these years later, still as the greatest representative of the genre. Since then, we've of course gotten many great titles to add to the list, many of them being recent original releases that have blown our minds one after another in this renaissance of survival horror. Signalis, Crow Country, Amnesia the Bunker, Tormented Souls. But no matter how good a game may be, I have yet to play something that truly transported me back to that RE1 remake feeling from over 2 decades ago. That was until I played The Mute House, a new survival horror game made by one guy, out now on Steam for only $12.99 American. And this is absolutely an early contender for favorite game of the year. It's an uncompromising vision that does its best to recapture the RE1 remake essence, in its look, in its controls, in its gameplay. It's not a carbon copy, it does things to differentiate itself, but the feeling you get exploring the mansion here is unmistakable. Not even Tormented Souls gave me this much of an RE1 vibe. Let's get something straight, this is for the hardcore classic fans. It is fixed camera, tank controls, no moving while aiming, and no checkpoints. It's a game that expects the player to be taking notes on important things, and not expecting the game to tell them where to go with objective prompts. On top of that, add no map, no filing system, no auto reload, discarding partially used magazines, bullets taking up multiple inventory slots, and enemy types that can kill you instantly. The Mute House is not for the faint at heart. It is not for people who cry about tank controls. You don't want to use tank controls? Go play another game. Modern analog controls would break the game balance by granting too much mobility, just like it does in the HD remaster of RE1. This one is for us, and if you love this stuff like I do, you're in for a treat. I'm not gonna lie and say it's perfect, it's a one-man made title with some issues here and there. The character models and animations aren't very impressive, there's only one save file, there's plenty the developer wishes he could have done differently or better. But look at this, look at these camera angles! Dramatic pulled back shots that show the whole room, angles framing a close-up of an object, terrifying shots of long dark hallways, top-down perspective for puzzle solving, and several moments of camera movement instead of hard cuts, creating unique visual moments. I love this stuff so much I want to recommend it just for that, because us fixed camera lovers are the kinds of folk that'll just stop and smile every time the angle changes, as we appreciate the artistic framing. We value this so much. If you don't, that's fine. You have so many games to choose from. But sometimes it's nice for us to get one. And there are many rich moments of cinematography here that'll warm the heart of any classic Resident Evil fan. Much like RE1, you spend the majority of your time in the mansion, until you unlock a way out the back leading to the guest house. You'll then have to return to the mansion as you're finding puzzle items. Now, this game's scope is limited, so you're really just going back and forth a couple times, no other major locations, until the game ends. It's a few hours long, comparable to Crow Country, maybe a bit longer. You've only got 2 weapons, your police-issue handgun that holds 8 rounds, and a shotgun found upstairs that holds 6. If you still have a clip in the magazine, you'll have to eject it. Pop in another one and retrieve the one you dropped, or you'll have to take out the bullets in the inventory and then reload. You'll also notice there's no ammo counter. If you want to check what's in your gun, you gotta take the bullets out. It's kinda cool. I mean, it works for this game, I wouldn't want to see it in every game. Keeping track of just how many shots you've fired is challenging, something else to keep track of. It'll get you killed too. You can reload in the menu as well, which I always do for the shotgun because it's faster, but be careful, time isn't stopped, it's just slowed down. Look at me handling this giant spider with my inventory reloading skills. I even got into the story a little, because it's not constantly thrown in your face with diary entries in every damned room. Notes are sparse and short, giving just enough to get an idea of what's been going on here. It's perfect. Looking for your sister, something about experiments and a dying wife, now there's monsters walking around, you get the idea. As you're figuring out the story, you're looking for keys, solving some honestly well-designed puzzles, 7 or 8 of them, just the right amount for the experience. Sometimes it's just about finding one thing or playing parts of a song in order, but it could also be something that takes some time to think about, but the solution is always there. The director made a conscious effort to avoid anything like the Resident Evil Village piano puzzle, and for that he gets my highest respect. There's a lot of backtracking, as you're going to get turned around due to there being no map. But the locations aren't so overwhelming that you can't build a pretty good map in your head as you play. It's a well-structured house for exploration. You'll need to take extra items to save rooms and make hard decisions about which resources to take with you as you enter dangerous areas. Do you take an extra clip? Do you take a one-time use formula that insta-kills enemies? Do you carry healing items? And if you do, which ones? You have medkits, which are very rare, and you have leeches. You can attach a leech to heal yourself, but it periodically disables your running and your 180 spin, so it's scary to use one during combat. You'll want to master the laser sight on your pistol because you can one-shot zombies in the head from across the room and get great damage against higher health versions as they come at you. Seriously, it's a game changer. You don't need to worry about it too much on your first playthrough, but if you unlock Fury mode, my god does it help. Fewer resources, more enemies, tougher enemies, and limited saves. Yes, ink ribbons are back, baby! And very few of them. Something I always disliked about Resident Evil's balance was the overabundance of ink ribbons. Whether it's the classic games or the RE2 remake, you can save so many times. In the Mute House, even if you're exploring everywhere, you're gonna be desperate for another save. Just the right amount to get you through, provided you find them. They actually hide some of these things in rooms you may have found pointless in your first run, so you might not think to check them. Fury mode was hard. Some enemies you just aren't powerful enough to kill, so you gotta find a way around, and you can expect to die a bunch figuring it out. But that's okay, this game makes you want to master it and replay without saving, like the old classic titles used to. And I'm very proud to have been able to help out a bit with the QA side of things here, talking to the dev about some gameplay issues, some control issues, and the lack of clarity in a couple key puzzle moments. Thank you very much to Texa for the correspondence. Look, do I really have to say any more? You should have known in the first 5 seconds if you wanted to play this or not. If you've got that pure survival horror blood in you, of course you're gonna check it out, so definitely do. Like I said, it's not perfect, one-man development on his first game, there are some weird issues that are just gonna be in it. If you hold triangle, the inventory opens and closes, so be careful about that. There are no volume sliders, there's only one save file. That stuff is unfortunate, but it's in no way a deal breaker. Play the Mute House, it's on Steam right now. At the very least, you're gonna find it a cool throwback, but you might just love it.